Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Tuesday, November 16th, and we are here to try to take the mystery out of your financial life. And a lot of people, their financial lives are in transition right now. You know, we talked last week about how inflation is creeping up. We've been talking about this great resignation, how there are so many people who are transitioning from one job to another, getting out of the labor force into the labor force. There's a lot going on. And what we would like you to do is feel comfortable enough just clicking on the contact button on our website, jillonmoney.com, ask a question, and don't forget to tell us if you would like to come on the air, because that's one of our favoriteest things. We love having you on the air with us. That is what Nora did. She is on the line from Boston. What can we do for you?
So it's been a wild ride of pandemic, and I was an art professor for the last 14 years, 10 of them adjunct, 4 of them were a glorious full-time where I was in charge of the art department. And then pandemic happened and my school closed.
Wow.
So I'm fortunate in that I got a severance package that gives me my salary for a year and my health insurance for the year. And because of the way Massachusetts deals with signed severance packages, I'm also eligible for unemployment.
When did the severance kick in?
It kicked in August.
And how much were you earning? So what is the severance amount?
$58,000 for the year.
That's kind of stinky for being a super, smart art professor. No?
Absolutely. When you look at, and there used to be those ratings of how all of the colleges lined up with pay, we were always at the bottom. It used to be, it was 10 minutes from my house and it was beautiful and it was mine. So,
yeah. Okay. So severance and health insurance. Do you have a spouse?
I have a spouse and a child. And my spouse is also in transition now. We kind of realized with everything that happened, he was laid off initially at the beginning of the pandemic and then rehired. It was a furlough kind of situation.
Yep.
And then with my departure, we realized we need him to make a lot more money and have more stability, something that he can do remotely if the world crashes again.
Okay. How old are you guys?
So I am 38 and he is 35.
How old is the kid?
4.
How much does your spouse make currently?
So he just left, but his previous salary was also 58.
Oh, how did you guys do on that combined salary of, 116?
We were feeling very comfortable there.
Really?
Yes.
And you live in a high price market. Do you own a home?
We do. We own a 2-family home. So we rent out the first floor unit, which covers most of our mortgage and the taxes.
Oh, that's great.
We were so comfortable.
Oh, that's awesome. So how much is the home worth?
So the home is worth between $800,000 and $1 million at this point. And we bought it for 4 and owe less than 3 at this point.
Oh, great. You're not accelerating any of the mortgage, are you?
No, we did refi right before I got fired.
Okay.
To get a lower rate, and it reduced it by a year, but it just made sense to do a 20-year. We didn't want to extend it longer, blah, blah, blah.
I gotcha. Okay. Now your husband quit. What does he do?
So he was a master photo printer. So when you go
keeping it in the family.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. When you go to the Met or the Guggenheim or wherever and you see a photography show, he has printed some of those.
Oh, that's exciting. So what's next?
Next, he's going to do, or he started on Monday. He's doing a coding boot camp. So he's going to be a computer software programmer.
So very good. And how long is the boot camp?
It is 3 months. And we're very hopeful about it, obviously.
How much does that cost?
So it cost $14,000, but we convinced his old job to pay for half of it.
How'd you do that?
Well, we tried to have my husband quit at the end of the summer, and they realized how integral he was to the business. And so they had him stay. They wanted him to stay for an extra few months. And in exchange, we got a little extra paid vacation in that time, and they paid for half the boot camp.
Wow. So did you pay for you have the 7,000 actually set aside, or are you borrowing it?
I'm a saver. I'm I'm a saver.
Okay. How much do you have a set aside in savings right now?
So for myself, I have a few different accounts, but for just my savings account for after my severance runs out, I have 32,000 currently.
Say that again?
32,000.
32. Got it. Okay.
My savings account.
Yep.
And I'm saving about $3,000 a month right now.
Wow.
And then I have 8,000 in my checking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have about 17,000 as like super, super, super backup. Like one of them is my art account. So it's like grants that really should be used for art stuff. And then some money that is with a family member. But, if stuff really hit the fan, we could use it.
You could tap that. Okay. What about money you saved for retirement with the college?
So that's very little, unfortunately. That was
Okay.
the last thing. So I only have like $3,000 saved in my 403b. And then my
Okay.
husband also, so the way we do our finances, he currently also has 18,000 saved. So has 6 months of his half of the expenses.
Okay. And does he have a retirement, or did he have a retirement plan?
No, which is part of the problem.
Uh-huh.
Job
Okay.
have any benefits.
So when he comes out of boot camp, what do you suspect is going to be the salary range? Be conservative.
Conservative will be in the 60 to 70. That's, I would say, super conservative
Mm-hmm.
for like the first job. And then realistically, we're hoping he lands, in the longer term in the 110, 150 and beyond.
And what
depending.
about you? What's your game plan?
My game plan right now is to live off as much as I can save until he makes big bucks and then be an artist, basically, and potentially teach adjunct classes, but they really don't pay well. They
No,
pay.
it's like crap. I always notice. I'm amazed. What a scam these
It's
colleges are, by the way.
insane.
What about like a public school art kind of person?
You have to have other certifications. You need
Mhm.
more certifications and more schooling than you need to be a professor.
I didn't know that.
It's crazy.
Huh.
I'm open to other things, but it's kind of, let's see if my spouse can make enough that our family can be comfortable and I can do my thing.
How about doing the bar mitzvah circuit? Would you do that?
I'm more of an academic photographer. That's the problem.
In other words, I can't even hire you to do anything. Are you kidding
You
me?
can buy art. I sell prints. I show at museums and stuff.
Wow.
It's less of a regular commercial photography type of event. It's more intellectual,
Oh my
which
God.
is not practical. Like,
No. Now, let me ask you a question for real. If you had to do it all over again, would you take this path of academic and artistic prowess, or would you maybe reconsider knowing what you know now?
I think I'm pretty happy with where we are. I'm sitting in my studio that we turned my attic into. I'm looking out. I can see the skyline of Boston. I'm pretty happy.
All
So
right.
I don't think I would change it. Would I maybe have taken a couple more math classes to give me some more options? Maybe.
Maybe.
But I mean, the reality was when I had my job, it was my dream job. And if the academic job market was such that I could just be full-time again, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Okay. So what's the question here?
The question is, I feel like I've saved so much money. Like I have enough at this point that I can pay for at least my half of our expenses for a full year, probably a little bit more after my severance runs out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still saving. And by the time my spouse runs out of money, so he has about 6 months of his savings. We hope he has a job by then. But if not, basically by then my savings will be such that I can cover both of us for about a year on our expenses. But it's feeling like maybe I should actually pivot some of that money into the retirement funds while I can.
Never, 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 never. No, I don't think so. I want to stay liquid. You
Okay.
guys are in super duper transition. I don't know if Mark's going to agree with me on this. I think you need to stay liquid. Do not invest a penny of this. Talk to me after he comes out of this 3-month boot camp.
Okay.
Tell me what he's earning. Can you guys live on that first conservative salary? If he's making 70 grand, 65 or 70 grand, can you guys live on that one salary?
With my
No, forget about the severance. Can you live on just that?
it would be tight.
Okay.
It would be tight. But
Okay.
I
Then you're
think-
telling
yeah.
me everything I need to know. So I want you to stockpile cash.
Okay.
You are not going to put any money into retirement right now. And you are going to really have to see where things land. The good news is you got a great housing situation that the 2-family thing works for you. Right. And it's paying most of all the expenses, I guess, essentially for the house. So that's why you can live on $100,000 a year in the Boston market. Right.
Yes.
But I mean, the more variables that we have that are outstanding, the less risk you can take.
Okay.
So you're doing exactly what you should be doing. My nephew went to a one of these coding schools. I mean, game changer for him. I have to say, I was not such a big fan previously, but his experience, like watching him go through this,
Yeah.
completely turned things around. And the other thing that was interesting, I know that we've interviewed a lot of people who are like, oh, don't go to college and just go to boot camp, go to coding camp. Like, yeah, that's possible. Except I think the reason that my nephew is able to score such a good job is that he had an education, he had worked in other organizations, and he was a mature person who could like actually manage people. So I think that the other thing to remember is that I think your husband might be in a position as kind of a grown up in that industry that
Yeah.
he could even see himself rise faster than you anticipate. And it is a tight job market. So my fingers are crossed for you guys. Can you just run through a few other things with me? So you've got your money that's coming in, you've got your health insurance. How about what do you guys have for life insurance?
We are negligent on that front. We were
Mm,
we were working on that when I was losing my job, and then we just didn't follow through on it because they seemed very keen on the duration of period, like time we'd had my job, so that I didn't.
yeah. I mean, look, I think you should just get some cheap term life insurance. Podcast sponsor Policy Genius or many other online organizations. You probably need at least a $500,000 each, at least maybe $1 million, but let's just do a $500,000 for to start to keep this expense down. Get a 20-year term life insurance policy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
How about wills?
That's similar situation.
Mark, can we get a sounder for people who don't have their estate documents in place? You're a little more forgiven just because there's too much stuff going on? Yeah. I mean, it's just like you really, it's true. Your lives have been upended, but I still want you to get wills. I really do. So that's what you can spend some of your savings on.
Okay.
All right. Policy Genius, they've got wills. I feel
Okay.
like, Mark, I've done like I'm becoming a commercial for Jennifer Fitzgerald's company. This is ridiculous. What else can we do for you? Anything else?
So so I'm not going to put any money in right now. But in the past, you have
Hmm.
said that you liked TIAA CREF more
Love.
than anything else. And that is one of my options. And I
Okay.
won't put anything in unless and until my husband gets some phenomenal job.
Right.
Let's say if he does get, 110,000, 150, whatever. Let's say he gets
Right.
a crazy job right out of the gate.
Yep.
I still have access,
Great.
potentially.
Great.
Then am I allowed to pour money in? And do I switch to TIAA from Fidelity? And why is it better? I guess that's my fundamental question.
Well, okay, there's two parts of TIAA.
Yes.
One is the annuity side, and one is just a bunch of mutual funds, the CREF side.
Okay.
And the CREF side is sort of analogous to any, there's an index fund, and there aren't as many choices as, say, the whole Fidelity Fund family. But the reason why people like me just extol the great virtues of TIAA is that guaranteed side
Okay.
is unbelievable. And there does not exist another annuity product for the masses. That's why I like it. That
Okay.
is so cheap because they just have really, really low expenses. So why don't we make a little pinky swear? If you and your husband are in better shape in 3 or 6 months, we'll bring you guys on the air and we'll talk about what to do next.
Okay.
How's that?
I'll take it.
Fair enough?
That sounds wonderful.
Okay. Now, Mark, is there anything else that I've forgotten? I know. I thought that, like, you do have $1 million asset called
Right.
your house and you got a lot of equity in it, but then they got to live someplace, unless you want to move to a much cheaper market.
Which we don't intend to move, but now that we're not tethered, we potentially could.
Right.
Everywhere
It's a possibility.
Everywhere feels expensive. I mean, not as expensive as here, but nowhere
Yeah.
seems cheap right now.
Well, let's just say that, like, I don't even know this. I'm going to make this up.
Yeah.
Let's just say that, husband gets a great job. He's coding. He's making $1.25. And, maybe you could move to like Manchester, New Hampshire. See how I'm making this up? That maybe there's a possibility there, or maybe not, or maybe you move near family, or maybe whatever. But
Right.
let's do one thing at a time. No investing yet. Keep piling up the savings.
Okay.
Get him a job. Let us know when he gets a job, and we will be happy to walk you through what the next steps are for you guys. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us. If you are in transition, like Nora and her husband, we'd love to hear from you. All you need to do is go to the website, JillOnMoney.com. JillOnMoney.com, click the contact button. While you're there, sign up for the free newsletter and maybe listen to old shows that you may have missed down the line. We do get credit for those downloads of the old shows, so you could just binge us at any time, and it works for us. We love it. It's great. So JillOnMoney.com, that's the repository for everything that is content for us. Okay, very good. Try to do something nice for someone else today. Grit, growth, grace. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.